Hello class, God bless you. Class, this is the last lesson of chapter number 4 and I will help you in solving the chapter exercise. So first we see what we have learned in this chapter. The topics we have learned are habitats, animals and plants and their dependence on each other. In a habitat, like how plants are dependent on animals and how animals are dependent on plants, because both have to survive in the same habitat. Then we studied about adaptations, and the last topic was food chains. So here we begin the chapter exercise review questions, textbook page number 91. The question number 1 is identify the habitats. Mangrove plants. I have given the picture here. These plants live in swampy areas where water is present throughout the year. Then camel. Camel lives in desert, as the picture is showing you. Penguins. Penguins live in Antarctic where throughout the year ice is present, and penguins are well adapted to survive in very low temperatures, freezing temperatures, so that they can live there. And the coconut trees are grown in beach in tropical countries. Question number 2. A pond is a habitat of many plants and animals. Identify 3 plants and animals living in a pond. If you could observe a pond and its surrounding, you will come to know that in plants, water lilies can be found there, lotus and water hyacinths. And in animals, fish live in a pond, tadpoles means frog also, and diving beetles. Question number 3. Identify the natural habitat of cactus plants. How is a cactus plant suited to its environment in its habitat? The habitat of cactus is a desert, as it is shown in the picture also. And the cactus plant has leaves which are reduced to spines, just like needles, to reduce water loss. And its succulent and swollen stem, look at this stem, it's swollen. This stem stores water and it is green due to having chlorophyll in it. So it also performs the function of photosynthesis, means the making of food. And its stem has also few stomata and has a waxy surface which reduce water loss. Question number 4. Suggest a way in which a butterfly is dependent on a flowering plant and a way in which the flowering plant is dependent on the butterfly. Have you seen butterflies hovering above the flowers? Yes, they are very beautifully made and its wings are so colorful, so it attracts everyone. So the butterfly sits on the flower to get its nectar. Nectar means the juice of flower, because nectar is the food of a butterfly. So it's in search of food. Butterfly sits on many flowers, and in getting its food, it's transforming the pollen grains from one flower to another. So butterfly is dependent on plants because it needs nectar, And the plants are using butterfly, and plants are dependent on butterfly because butterfly is transferring its pollen grain in search of its food. So plants are dependent on butterfly and butterflies are dependent on plants. The next question is, you study the food chain. The plant. The plant is getting its energy from the sun. It's converting this energy into food, the glucose, which is transformed into starch. Then the aphid, ladybird and bird are dependent on the food which are formed by plant. The aphids are directly feeding the plant. The ladybug is feeding the aphids and the bird is eating the ladybug. So as described earlier, that in a food chain, the living things are dependent on one another in terms of their food, because all of them need food to get energy to survive. The last question is making and constructing a food chain. Like I have solved this question for you. You see, a deer eats a rabbit and rabbit eats grass. B. A fox eats rabbit and rabbit eats grass. A lettuce plant is eaten by a caterpillar and a caterpillar is eaten by a bird in turn. And the D, last food chain, the grass is being eaten by praying mantis and praying mantis is being eaten by grasshopper and grasshoppers are eaten by bat. So this is how the energy is flowing in all the food chains. And you can see in all the food chains, plants are the producers. The first stage from where the energy is taken in a food chain is a plant. That's why plants are called as producers, because plants prepare their own food and they transform this energy to other animals who are eating plants. Then comes the consumers. The primary consumers are those herbivorous animals which are feeding on plants. And the secondary consumers are those consumers which are carnivorous. Yes, because these animals are feeding on other animals. So this is how a food chain shows the relationship of all the living organisms. So here we end today's lecture, and I wish and I hope that you will be watching all the videos, and especially this last lesson will be helping you in winding up the whole chapter. In next class we will be hopefully beginning the new chapter. Thank you very much, class. God bless you and take care.